I never thought begging for milk would shatter my world like a brick through a window. The words tumbled out of my cracked lips before I could stop them. Sir, could you spare some milk? For a kid nearby. And the man in the tailored coat paused mid-stride on that rain-slicked sidewalk in Chelsea, his piercing blue eyes locking onto mine like he'd just seen a ghost. In that split second, as thunder rumbled overhead and the city lights blurred into neon tears, he didn't laugh or walk away. He knelt down, level with my shivering frame huddled against the bodega door, and whispered, "Milk? Kid, let's get you a whole damn farm if that's what it takes." My name's Kyle Harlan, and back then, at 18, I was just another shadow in the concrete jungle of Manhattan. 18 in years, but feeling like I'd aged a lifetime under the weight of foster homes, evictions, and the kind of hunger that gnaws deeper than your stomach. New York in late fall 2023 was a beast. Crisp air biting through my threadbare hoodie, steam rising from manhole covers like the city's own foggy breath, and everywhere, the relentless hum of ambition that made guys like me feel invisible. I'd run from my last group home upstate 3 months prior, after the caseworker decided I was too much trouble for mouthing off about the bruises from the older boys. Trouble? Hell, I was surviving. Crashing on subway benches, scavenging half-eaten bagels from alley trash, and dodging the cops who saw a skinny kid with messy brown hair and faded jeans as just another statistic. That night, the rain had turned the streets into rivers of regret, and I was soaked to the bone outside that corner store on West 23rd. The fluorescent lights buzzed like angry hornets, casting harsh shadows on the milk cartons stacked just inside the glass door, untouchable treasures mocking my empty pockets. I'd spotted him from across the street, tall, broad-shouldered, maybe mid-30s, with salt and pepper hair cropped short and a stride that screamed money. He was the type who owned the rain, not the other way around, umbrella tucked under one arm like it was optional. Gay, I clocked instantly, not from any stereotype, but from the subtle rainbow pin on his lapel, the easy confidence in how he moved through a world that still tried to box people like him in. Our eyes met when he emerged from the deli, a paper bag of what smelled like fresh croissants in hand. Panic hit me like a freight train. I hadn't planned to ask. But the lie about a kid nearby slipped out, my default shield, because admitting I was the one starving felt like handing over my last shred of dignity. He stopped, rain dripping from his coat, and instead of the usual pitying nod or hurried escape, he crouched down. His face was all sharp angles softened by concern, high cheekbones, a jawline that could cut glass. And those eyes, Wesley Grant, I learned later, but in that moment, just a stranger who saw me. "A whole damn farm," I echoed, my voice cracking like the sidewalk under my sneakers. Laughter bubbled up unbidden, raw and disbelieving, cutting through the downpour. He smiled, not the condescending kind, but one that crinkled the corners of his eyes, like we'd shared a secret joke. "Yeah, or at least a hot meal and a dry bed tonight. Name's Wesley. What's yours?" "Kyle." It came out smaller than I intended, but he nodded like it was the most important word in the city. "Come on, Kyle. My place is 2 blocks away. No strings, just milk, and whatever else you need." He stood, offering a hand that was warm and steady, calloused in a way that spoke of gym weights, not manual labor. I hesitated, every survival instinct screaming trap, but the rain won, or maybe it was the way he didn't loom over me. I took it. His apartment wasn't a place. It was a penthouse fortress overlooking the Hudson, all floor-to-ceiling windows and minimalist furniture that screamed old money mixed with tech bro edge. Wesley was a venture capitalist, he'd explain later, 34, out since college at Stanford, founder of a firm that backed queer-led startups in Silicon Alley. But that first night, as he handed me a steaming mug of cocoa, milk upgraded, apparently, and a towel that smelled like lavender detergent, none of that mattered. He didn't grill me about my story, just asked if I liked jazz, and put on Miles Davis while he heated up leftover lasagna in a kitchen bigger than my last foster bedroom. We ate at the island counter, the city lights twinkling like distant fireflies below. "You don't have to tell me anything," he said between bites, his fork pausing. "But if you want to crash here tonight, the guest room's yours. Clean sheets, no questions." "Why?" I blurted, sauce dripping from my chin. No one did this, not without wanting something. I'd learned that the hard way. Wesley leaned back, his button-down sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms etched with faint tattoos. A rainbow infinity loop, a quote from Whitman. We contain multitudes. Because I was you once. Not homeless, exactly, but lost. Kicked out at 16 by a dad who couldn't handle his son being. Well, me. Thought if I could help one kid not freeze on a street corner, maybe I'd square a little karma. I stared at my plate, the vulnerability hitting like a sucker punch. I'm gay too. I muttered, testing the waters. Figured that out at 14. Got the crap beat out of me for it. His nod was slow and pathetic. Welcome to the club, Kyle. Sucks, doesn't it? But it gets better. Not Hallmark better, but real. If you let it. That night, I slept for 14 hours straight, waking to sunlight streaming in and the smell of pancakes. Wesley was at the stove, humming off-key, wearing sweatpants that hung low on his hips. He slid a stack my way with a wink. Fuel up. We're going shopping today. Can't have you wandering around in rags. Shopping turned into a blur. New jeans that actually fit, a winter coat with actual insulation, boots that didn't leak. He paid without flinching, but it wasn't charity porn. He dragged me into conversations about what I liked. Turns out, graphic novels and indie bands, and slipped in questions about school. I dropped out at 16, GED dreams buried under survival. Ever think about finishing? He asked casually, as we browsed a bookstore in the village. Used to. Before everything went to shit. He bought me a stack of comics, then, on impulse, enrolled me in an online GED program that afternoon. No pressure, just an option. Days blurred into weeks. Wesley's life was a whirlwind. Board meetings in glass towers, charity galas for LGBTQ plus youth shelters, late nights scrolling pitch decks on his laptop. I crashed in the guest room, but soon we were sharing takeout on the couch, debating Marvel plot holes or why Billie Eilish was the voice of our generation. He was out and proud, with exes who texted occasional memes, but no current flame, just this easy rhythm between us, Minter and Stray, that felt dangerously like more. One evening, as snow dusted the city like powdered sugar, we bundled up for a walk in the High Line. The elevated park was strung with holiday lights, the air crisp with pine from vendor carts. Wesley bought us hot cider, steam curling up as we leaned on the railing, watching ferries slice through the dark river. You know, he said, his breath fogging the air. I keep waiting for you to bolt. Most kids in your spot do. I shrugged, cider warming my palms. Maybe I like the view too much. Our shoulders brushed, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to that touch, electric, unspoken. He turned, his face inches from mine, eyes searching. Kyle, I don't want to mess this up. You're not just a rescue project. Then don't make me one. The words hung there, bold and terrified. He cupped my cheek, thumb tracing my jaw, and leaned in. The kiss was soft, tentative, tasting of cinnamon and possibility. Snowflakes melted on our lashes as Manhattan hummed below, oblivious. But nothing in New York stays simple. The first crack came a week later, during a video call with Wesley's sister, Elena, a sharp-tongued lawyer from Boston. She was visiting for Christmas, FaceTiming from Logan Airport. Wes, who's the stray? He looks like he could use a haircut and a reality check. I froze in the background, plate of pasta halfway to my mouth. Wesley shot her a glare. Elena, meet Kyle. He's staying with me. And he's family now, so dial back the venom. She laughed, but it grated. Family? Last I checked, you collect strays like bad investments. Remember that hustler from Fire Island? Wesley's jaw tightened. That was years ago. Drop it. But she didn't. Over the holiday, Elena cornered me in the kitchen while Wesley was out grabbing eggnog. Look, kid. Kyle. Wesley's got a hero complex. Saved me from our folks' divorce mess. Now he's saving you. But don't get attached. He burns out, moves on. Always does. Her words lodged like glass in my chest. Was that all I was? A project? The kiss replayed in my mind, now tainted, pity dressed as passion. I confronted him that night, after she'd left for her hotel. We were decorating the tree, fake, pre-lit, because Wesley hated needles, and I snapped an ornament in half. Am I just your latest charity case? Elena thinks so. He set down the star topper, face paling. What? No, God. Kyle. She's got her own baggage. Our dad's the one who outed me to the whole town, called me a disgrace. I've been proving I'm worth something ever since. By fixing broken kids like me? My voice rose, echoing off the windows. He stepped closer, hands raised. By caring. About you. More than I should. Maybe. The fight escalated. Words like grenades. My accusations of manipulation. His defenses cracking into raw hurt. You think this is easy? Falling for someone half your age, knowing the optics? But I see you, Kyle. The fire in you, not the scars. I stormed out into the snow, coat forgotten, pounding pavement until my lungs burned. Hours later, he found me at a diner on 14th, nursing black coffee. I'm sorry, he said, sliding into the booth. Elena's wrong. It's real. We patched it, fragile as tissue, but the seed of doubt sprouted. I aced my first GED module, started interning at his firm shadowing deals, but whispers followed. The receptionist side-eyeing me, a partner muttering "gold digger" at the copier. Wesley brushed it off, jealous pricks, but it festered. Then came the bomb. February, Valentine's snowstorm trapping us inside. We were tangled on the couch, Coltrane crooning, when his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Tell your boy toy the truth about Portland, or I will. Wesley's face drained of color. It's nothing. Bullshit. I snatched the phone. The thread unfolded like a nightmare. Old emails from a guy named Marcus, Wesley's ex from grad school. Portland, 5 years back, Wesley's first big startup flop. Marcus accused him of embezzling funds to cover personal debts, ghosting him after coming out publicly. You ruined me, Wes. Now you're playing house with some twink to feel better. It wasn't true, Wesley swore, showing ledgers proving Marcus's sabotage, but the betrayal stung. Marcus had sold the story to a tabloid, twisting it into tech tycoon's dark past, betrayal, and lies. By morning, it was everywhere. Page 6, Gawker knockoffs, even a snarky thread on X labeling Wesley a predator. Reporters swarmed the lobby. Wesley's board demanded a meeting. Elena called, venom renewed. I told you, Wes. Secrets always surface. I packed a bag that afternoon, heart splintering. I can't be the scandal that tanks you. He grabbed my wrist, eyes wild. You're not. Stay. Fight this with me. But doubt roared louder. I fled to a shelter in Brooklyn, crashing on a cot amid snores and despair, replaying every touch as manipulation. Days blurred. Rejection emails for job apps. Taunts from street kids who'd seen the headlines. Millionaire's pet, huh? The low point hit on a bench in Prospect Park, rain mixing with tears, when my phone, Wesley's old hand-me-down, pinged. A voicemail from him, voice wrecked. Kyle, Marcus lied. I covered for him once, kept his addiction quiet, and he twisted it. But you're the best thing that's happened. Come home. Please. I deleted it, but it echoed. Home. I'd never had one. Fate, or karma, intervened via a barista at the shelter's coffee outreach. Jaden, a trans activist with neon hair and zero filter. Girl, you sound like my ex run from love because it's scary? Classic trauma response. She shoved a flyer in my hand. A queer youth forum at the Stonewall Inn. Go. Or stay stuck. I went. The room buzzed with stories. Outcasts turned advocates, survivors sharing scars. Midway through, Wesley walked in, coat dusted with March slush, face gaunt. Gasps rippled. He'd become a pariah, firm on probation. But he took the mic, voice steady. I'm Wesley Grant. And I screwed up. Hid from my past to protect someone I loved. Lost everything. But I found Kyle. He didn't save me. We saved each other. If he'll have me. Eyes on me, pleading. The room held its breath. I stood, throat tight. You should have told me sooner. I know. I'm sorry. The applause was thunderous, but our reunion was quiet. Back at the penthouse, unpacking my bag together, apologies weaving into truths. Marcus confessed via email, rehab-fueled regret. The board reinstated Wesley after audits cleared him. But the real mending was us. Therapy sessions where I unpacked foster ghosts, him confronting his savior syndrome. Summer bloomed, and so did we. GED done. I enrolled at NYU on a scholarship Wesley's network quietly greased. No strings, just belief. We traveled. Road trip down Route 66. Him teaching me to drive stick in the Arizona desert. Stars blanketing us as we camped under the Milky Way. Yet conflict lingered, sharper now. Elena returned for pride. her apology laced with barbs. You're good for him, Kyle. But don't think this erases the family curse. Dad's dying, wants to see Wes. One last shot at redemption. Wesley's dad, bigoted ex-cop from Queens, Alzheimer's fading his edges. The call came during a barbecue on the terrace, ribs charring as Wesley paced. He doesn't deserve forgiveness. But you do, I said softly, handing him a beer. For you, not him. The hospital visit was a battlefield, sterile halls echoing with monitors, the old man frail in a gown, eyes cloudy, but sharpening on Wesley. Son, I was wrong. About you. About everything. Words hung, unsaid hurts bubbling. Wesley's fists clenched. You threw me out. Called me an abomination. Tears tracked the man's wrinkles. Fear. My own demons. Forgive me. Wesley looked to me, standing sentinel by the door. I nodded, heart aching. I do, he whispered finally. But it doesn't erase the pain. We left lighter, somehow, chains loosening. But Elena pulled me aside in the parking garage, rain pattering on the BMW. You think that's closure? Dad's faking remorse. Always did, to control us. Doubt crept back, venomous. Was it manipulation? Wesley seemed at peace, but I saw the cracks. Nightmares, canceled meetings. Our intimacy frayed. Kisses turning perfunctory, nights spent staring at ceilings. The breaking point shattered on a humid July evening. We'd planned a weekend in the Hamptons, escape from the city's grind, but Wesley bailed last minute for a family emergency. Elena's text followed. Tell Wes I said hi, and ask about the will reading. Dad's not long now. Rage boiled over. I tailed him, not proud, but desperation's a hell of a drug. He wasn't at the hospital. He was at a dive bar in Midtown, huddled with Marcus of all people, laughing over shots. My world tilted. Betrayal, raw and jagged. I burst in, chair scraping like a gunshot. What the fuck, Wes? Heads turned. Marcus smirked, but Wesley's face crumpled. Kyle, it's not. You're with him? After everything. No. He's relapsing. I was talking him down. Clean slate, for old times. But the optics screamed liar. I bolted, hailing a cab to the bridge, wind whipping as I screamed into the void. Hours later, his texts flooded. Please. Let me explain. I ghosted him, crashing with Jaden in Bushwick, walls plastered with protest posters. Days turned to a week, my internship faltering, grades slipping. Elena called then, voice syrupy. Kyle, honey, come stay with me. Wes is spiraling, back to old habits. You deserve better. It was a lifeline, or so I thought. Her Boston brownstone was all exposed brick and law books. Elena playing big sister with wine and wisdom. Wes needs fixing, always has. You're young, bright. Don't waste it. But cracks showed. Her casual digs at my background. The way she accidentally left out tabloid printouts painting Wesley as a serial heartbreaker. And then, the bombshell. She'd leaked the Portland story to Marcus, years ago, out of sibling rivalry. He needed a wake-up. Now, with Dad's estate, it's my turn. Horror dawned. She'd played us both, stoking my doubts to isolate Wesley, secure the inheritance. I confronted her over breakfast, bagel crumbling in my fist. You're the poison, not him. She laughed, cold. Prove it, kid. Without Wes's money, you're nothing. I left that night, subway rattling back to Manhattan, resolve stealing. Wesley was at the apartment, unshaven, surrounded by takeout boxes, when I keyed in. I'm done running, I said, dropping my duffel. Elena's the snake. Portland, the leak, it was her. His eyes widened, pieces clicking. God, I suspected. But family. We pieced it together. Calls to Marcus, Elena's financials showing payoffs. The confrontation was epic. Thanksgiving, family table in Queens, turkey cold as accusations flew. You pitted us against each other for a payout. Wesley roared, chair toppling. Elena sneered. Survival of the fittest, brother. Dad always favored you. The old man, lucid for once, wheezed from his wheelchair. Enough. My fault, all of it. Will's even, always was. Elena, you're cut off if you don't stop. She stormed out, disowned in spirit if not law. Wesley and I drove home in silence, Hudson glittering under holiday lights. Thank you, he murmured, hand on my knee, for seeing through the mess. In the quiet, we rebuilt, not as savior and saved, but equals. I graduated NYU 2 years later, launching a nonprofit for queer homeless youth. Wesley is silent partner. He proposed on that high-line bench, ring simple silver with a rainbow inlay, snow falling like confetti. We said vows in a rooftop ceremony, Jaden officiating, Manhattan as witness. No fairy tale, scars linger, therapy's ongoing. But love? It's the farm we built, one stubborn root at a time. And every morning, as I pour milk into my coffee, I remember, sometimes, a simple ask changes everything. Life after the wedding wasn't a straight shot to bliss. New York doesn't do straight shots, period. Wesley and I settled into a rhythm in the penthouse, me juggling nonprofit grants and night classes for my master's in social work, him navigating boardroom minefields with a firm now twice as cautious about scandals. Mornings were sacred. Him brewing pour-over from beans we'd picked up in Portland, the real one, not the ghost. Me scrolling donor emails while Boots, our rescue tabby, batted at the steam. "You're glowing," he'd say, kissing my temple, and I'd roll my eyes but lean in anyway. But ghosts don't evaporate with I do's. Elena's exile festered like an untreated wound. She resurfaced 6 months post-wedding, email terse. "Congrats. Dad's gone. Funeral Saturday. Don't bring your charity case." Wesley deleted it, but the barb stuck. His old man passed quietly in his sleep, estate settled without fanfare. Equal shares, as promised, though Elena contested it in court, claiming undue influence from Wesley's lifestyle. The trial was a circus. Boston courtroom stuffy with summer humidity, lawyers in pinstripes dissecting family photos like crime scenes. Elena took the stand, tear-streaked but venomous. Wesley always manipulated Dad, turned him soft in his final days. That boy, she jabbed a finger at me in the gallery, was the wedge. I gripped Wesley's hand under the table, knuckles white. "She's lying," I whispered, but doubt whispered back. Had our forgiveness swayed the old man? Wesley's testimony was raw, voice cracking as he recounted the outing, the disownment, the hospital olive branch. "I forgave for me, not the money. Elena? She's chasing shadows we all cast." The judge ruled against her. Frivolous suit, sanctions slapped, but victory tasted like ash. Elena vanished overseas, rumors of a job in Dubai law, but her parting shot lingered, a leaked affidavit to a gossip site, twisting our story into Millionaire's groom. From streets to schemer? Hate mail trickled in, envelopes scrawled with slurs, emails from concerned Christians quoting Leviticus. My nonprofit's funding dipped, donors whispered about optics. Wesley wanted to sue, but I stopped him. Let it burn out. We're stronger than her poison. We were mostly. Fall brought solace. Apple picking in the Hudson Valley, hayrides bumping along dirt roads, cider donuts dusted with cinnamon sugar. Wesley proposed a second honeymoon. Vegas, baby, for the kitsch. And we laughed through slot machines and Elvis chapels, his hand steady in mine amid the neon chaos. To us, he'd toast at dive bars off the strip, the unscripted plot twist. Back home, though, the real twist brewed. My past, the one I'd buried under GED certificates and wedding bands, clawed its way up. A letter arrived, forwarded from the old group home address, from my birth mom, Carla Harlan, postmarked from a rehab in Scranton. "Kyle, saw your wedding pic online. Proud. Maybe not, but I need to see you. Clean now. One chance." I'd written her off at 12, after years of foster ping-pong following her meth spirals and string of boyfriends who saw bruises as love marks. Last memory, her slurring, "You're better off without me," as social services hauled me away. Now this. A ghost in stationery. Wesley found me on the balcony, letter crumpled in my fist, skyline mocking with its unyielding gleam. "Talk to me." I did, words spilling like rain. The neglect, the hunger that predated streets, the fear that I'd inherited her chaos. "What if I'm broken, Wes? What if loving me's just your fix?" He pulled me close, heartbeat syncing with mine. "You're not her. And even if pieces match, I love the mosaic." I wrote back, cautious, guarded, and we met in a diner off I-80, Pennsylvania's gray November matching my mood. Carla was gaunt, tattoos faded like regrets, but her eyes held a clarity I'd never seen. "You look good, kid. That man's treating you right." We talked for hours, apologies without absolution, stories of her rock bottom, Losing custody, jail stints, the AA epiphany. I was scared of you being like me, gay, strong. Thought I'd ruin it. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but a thread. She hugged me goodbye, whispering, build what I couldn't. Driving home, Wesley's hand on my thigh. I felt lighter, unburdened, almost. Winter holidays tested that. We hosted a queer youth dinner at the nonprofit. 20 kids, ages 14 to 20, sharing turkey and trauma tales around a too-small table. One boy, Jamal, reminded me of 18-year-old me, wide-eyed, fresh off the streets, clutching a donated scarf like armor. How'd you know it gets better? He asked, voice small. Wesley's arm around my shoulders. Because someone believed in it for me. But Elena's shadow loomed. She crashed the event. Uninvited, heels clicking like accusations, a bottle of reconciliation, wine in hand. Merry Christmas, brother. Thought we'd bury the hatchet. The kids scattered, tension thick as gravy. Wesley's face hardened. Not here. Not now. She laughed, brittle. Always the saint. But Kyle? He's got mom's wild streak. Wait till it shows. Jamal overheard, eyes darting to me, doubt blooming. Later, as we cleaned up, he cornered me. She right? You fake it. My heart sank. No, but family's messy. Doesn't define us. He nodded, but the damage rippled. Whispers among the kids, funding calls ghosting. Wesley confronted Elena outside, snow swirling. Why? Haven't you done enough? Her eyes gleamed, manic. Because you won, Wes. Dad, the money, him. I get nothing. Get help, he said, voice breaking. Before you lose yourself. She left, but the fracture widened. Jamal dropped out of the program, citing drama. I spiraled, nights pacing the penthouse, questioning my role. Am I poison, Wes? Drawing her fire to these kids. You're light, he insisted, pulling me to bed. Her darkness bounces off. But intimacy waned. Touches turned obligatory, conversations clipped. Spring thawed the city, but not us. My thesis advisor flagged concerns. Personal entanglements clouding your work. And Wesley's firm hit turbulence. A backed startup tanked. Investors blaming distractions. The storm broke in May, during a gala for the nonprofit. Black ties swarm in a Soho loft. Champagne flutes clinking like fragile truces. Wesley was magnetic, schmoozing donors, but I caught Elena in the crowd. Unseen until too late, schmoozing her own network, her dress a slash of red venom. She cornered a major funder, voice honeyed. Kyle's inspiring, sure. But did you know his mom's a junkie? Foster fraud waiting to happen. The donor, a silver-haired widow, pulled back, checkbook snapping shut. I overheard, rage igniting. Enough, I shouted, room hushing as I stormed her. You're done. Leave, or I call security. Her smile was a knife. Touch me, and it's assault. Poor Kyle, street rat turned bully. Wesley arrived, parting the sea, face thunderous. Out. Now. She sauntered away, but the gala crumbled. Whispers, early exits. In the cab home, silence suffocated. We can't keep fighting her alone, I said finally. He nodded, exhausted. Hire a PI. End this. The investigator's report landed like a gut punch. Elena's Dubai gig? A front for embezzlement from dad's estate residuals. She'd forged documents, siphoned funds to offshore accounts. Worse, she'd doxed Jamal online, twisting his story into manipulated by the Harlans. Wesley confronted her via video. From her high-rise overlooking the Gulf, she sneered. Prove it. We will, he said, voice steel. And press charges. The fallout was biblical. Extradition battles, headlines screaming, Tech Heir's sister. From family feud to felony. Elena pled out, community service, restitution, but vanished again, a pariah in her own circles. For us, it was catharsis laced with grief. Therapy unpacked the codependency, Wesley's need to save, my fear of abandonment. We're not fixing each other, our counselor said. We're choosing each other, daily. Summer healed. Beach days in Fire Island. Waves crashing as we built sandcastles like kids, his laughter chasing away shadows. Jamal returned, apology in his eyes, and the nonprofit rebounded. Bigger grants, more kids. By fall, with leaves turning gold, we adopted Boots as littermate, a scrappy calico named Echo. Life wasn't perfect. arguments over chores, my late nights grading papers. But it was ours. Human, flawed, profoundly real. And in quiet moments, like that sunset on the high line where it began, hand in hand, I knew we'd earned this farm, milk and all. 2 years into marriage, and New York still tested us like a jealous lover. Relentless, intoxicating, unforgiving. The nonprofit, now christened Harlan Haven, had ballooned. A brick-and-mortar shelter in Harlem, bunk beds for 20, GED tutors on payroll, even a rooftop garden where kids like Jamal planted basil and dreams. I ran it full-time postmasters, sleeves rolled up in the chaos of intake forms and midnight crises. Wesley, he scaled back the VC grind, pivoting to impact investing, queer tech for social good. His office a converted sunroom overlooking our expanded terrace, now lush with planters we'd hauled from Brooklyn flea markets. Mornings hummed with routine, me blending smoothies, kale for him, banana for me, him quizzing me on grant pitches over NPR's Morning Edition. Nail that foundation ask, he'd say, winking. You're revolutionizing this city, Mr. Harlan Grant. The hyphen was my idea, equal billing, no one's shadow. But equality didn't shield from storms. The first gust hit in November 2027, when a new kid arrived, 17, lanky with a mohawk and eyes like shattered glass. Theo, run away from Ohio Bible Belt, beaten bloody by his preacher uncle after a grinder slip-up. He said I was possessed, Theo muttered, stitching his own split lip in our med room. I saw myself in him, the raw terror, the defiance masked as bravado. Assigned him a bunk, hooked him with art therapy. Turns out, he sketched comics that ripped your heart out. Wesley met him over pizza night, dropping VC wisdom. Build your empire from the ruins, kid. I did. Theo latched on. Too hard, maybe. Late night talks bled into dawn, him crashing our couch after story sessions. Wesley waved it off. He's like you were. Needs a dad figure. But jealousy gnawed, irrational and ugly. I'd catch them laughing over Wes's old Stanford yearbook, Theo's hand lingering on his arm, and my gut twisted. Am I overreacting? I asked Jaden over beers at her Bushwick bar. She snorted, pouring a stout. Hell yes. But trauma's a bitch. Makes you see monsters in mirrors. Still, it simmered. Christmas brought Elena's ghost. A card postmarked London, and signed but unmistakable, Families Forever. Watch your back. Wesley burned it in the fireplace, but paranoia flickered. Our lovemaking, once fire, cooled to embers. Me pulling away, him sensing the chill. New Year's Eve cracked it open. We hosted a bash at the penthouse. Haven kids, Jaden's crew, donors and sequins toasting under disco balls. Theo showed, spiked hair gelled to perfection, in a thrifted blazer that hung loose. Bought it with my first check from the art gig you hooked me up with, he told Wesley, hugging too tight. I nursed a gin by the window, city fireworks popping like accusations, when Theo cornered me. You're lucky, Kyle. Wes sees you, really sees. My uncle? He'd burned books before admitting he was wrong. His vulnerability disarmed me. Hey, you're family now. We all see you. But later, glimpsed through the crowd. Theo kissing Wesley's cheek. Innocent, thanks slurred by eggnog, but my wineglass shattered in my grip. Blood welled, and I fled to the bedroom, bandaging alone as party bass thrummed. Wesley found me at midnight. Ty ask you. Talk. It's nothing. Bull. He knelt, gentle as always. Theo? He's a kid. Like I was. The words lashed out. Am I just the first stray? Now upgraded to husband, but replaceable when the next broken bird tweets. His face crumpled, hurt flashing. God, Kyle, no. You're my anchor. Theo's. He's reminding me why I fell for you. That fight in him. It's you. We argued through champagne headaches. My insecurities from foster flux. His guilt over Elena's barbs embedding deeper. I can't lose you to ghosts, he said, voice raw. You won't, I promised, pulling him close. But I need to feel chosen, not collected. Resolution came slow. Boundaries with Theo, group hangs only. Couples retreat in the Catskills. Hikes through fern-choked trails. Bonfires where we burned old letters. Mine to Carla, his to Dad. Spring thawed us. Theo thriving at art school on a Haven scholarship. His comics now zines sold at queer book fairs. But life loves curveballs. June brought Carla's relapse. Text at 3 a.m. Slipped. Need help. Please. She'd been sober 3 years, mentoring at her Scranton Center, even visiting Haven for a guest talk on resilience. Now this. Overdose scare, ICU in Allentown. I drove solo, Wesley offering, but sensing I needed space. The hospital reeked of bleach and regret. Carla pale under fluorescence. Monitors beeping like accusations. Kyle. Failed again. Not failed, I said, throat tight. Fighting. We talked. Brutal honesty. Her triggers, anniversary of losing me. My resentment thawing into empathy. You're not defined by slips. I echoed what Wesley told me. She nodded, tears tracking. You're my redemption, kid. Even if I don't deserve it. Wesley flew in that night, renting a cabin nearby for recovery support. Days blurred. AA meetings in church basements. Lakeside walks where Carla shared untold stories. My dad's abandonment, her spiral's start. Wesley bonded with her over bad coffee. His own family fractures a bridge. We're all works in progress, he told her. She stabilized, transferred to a Philly outpatient program, closer, for visits. Gratitude swelled, but so did vulnerability. Back in the city, Haven hit expansion pains. City council balking at zoning for a second site, citing nuisance complaints from NIMBY neighbors. Protests erupted, picketers with signs, not in my backyard. Keep the gays out. The irony burned. Queer kids, many trans or POC, labeled threats in a borough built on Stonewall. Media swarmed, twisting our narrative. Radical shelter or haven for delinquents. Elena's hand. PI traced IP crumbs to a VPN in Berlin. Her style, stirring pots from afar. Wesley rallied. Op-eds in the Times, celebrity fundraisers with Billy Porter headlining. I testified at hearings, voice steady. These kids aren't delinquents, they're survivors. Deny them, and you're building more streets for tomorrow's headlines. Public tide turned, permits granted amid cheers. But the wind hollowed me. Exhaustion crashed like waves. One night, post-celebration toast, I collapsed, literal faint, blood pressure tanking from skipped meals and stress. Wesley carried me to bed, doctor diagnosing burnout. Step back, he urged. Let me shoulder some. Pride that year was reclamation. Marching arm in arm, rainbow flags whipping in the June heat. Haven contingent chanting, love wins, every damn time. Theo's flowed art, murals of intertwined hands, went viral, donations surging. Yet, under the confetti, Elena struck. August email blast to donors, forged docs proving Haven funneled funds to personal enrichment, my salary inflated, Wesley's investments laundered. Chaos, audits, frozen accounts, kids eyeing exits. Fury propelled me to her digital trail, Berlin flat. Luxury funded by pilfered estate scraps. Wesley greenlit a civil suit. I pushed criminal. No more half measures. The takedown was swift. Interpol raid. Elena arrested mid-yoga class. Headlines global. Exiled heiress's vendetta, from sibling rivalry to racketeering. Interrogations spilled. Years of grudge, therapy dodging. A therapist's note sealing her plea. Narcissistic personality, untreated. She got 5 years, white-collar wing. Time for reflection, court mandated. Her apology letter arrived months later, scrawled. I hated you because I envied your light. Forgive? Probably not. But sorry. Wesley read it aloud by the fire, then tossed it. Closure's not hers to give. Fall brought renewal. Haven's second sight ribbon cut. Carla at the ceremony, 6 months solid. Theo's zine tour hit Comic-Con. Us cheering from the front row. Our anniversary? A quiet escape to Big Sur. Cliffs dropping to Pacific foam, bonfire stories under stars. You're my forever plot twist, Wesley murmured, sand between our toes. And you're my farm, I replied, kissing him salt-sweet. But twists linger. Winter whispered of Theo's crush, awkward confession over coffee. It's stupid, but Wes is like the dad I never had. And more. Heartbreak in his eyes, mine aching in echo. We handled it gentle, group therapy, boundaries reaffirmed. He dated a barista from Queens, found his stride. Me? I wrote a memoir, Milk and Multitudes, ghosts exorcised on pages, bestseller status a bonus. By spring 2029, with cherry blossoms dusting Washington Square, life felt earned. Not perfect, arguments over adoption dreams. Yes, someday. Logistics, TBD. But deeply, defiantly ours. 2029 unfolded like a well-worn jazz riff. Improvised, soulful, with just enough dissonance to keep it real. Harlan Haven now anchored 3 boroughs, a beacon for over 100 kids annually. Job training in graphic design, pride mentorships, even a culinary program churning out pop-up dinners that drew foodie crowds to our Harlem kitchen. I helmed it with a team now robust. Jaden as program director, her neon hair a fixture in grant photos, while Wesley's fund, Grant Horizons, bankrolled similar ventures nationwide, from Atlanta coding camps to Seattle trans health hubs. Home was sanctuary. We'd traded the penthouse for a brownstone in Brooklyn Heights. Brownstone, with a garden plot where I coaxed tomatoes from stubborn soil, Wesley grilling skewers on Sundays, Boots and Echo chasing squirrels up the fence. Mornings meant lazy coffee on the stoop, watching joggers blur past, his foot hooked, round my ankle under the table. Carla integrated slow, weekly brunches at her Philly apartment, now tidy with sobriety plaques and my old comic collection she'd kept in storage. "You're the parent now," she'd joke, passing mashed potatoes, and I'd laugh. The reversal a quiet victory. Her stories filled gaps. My dad's laugh like thunder, lullabies slurred but sincere, turning absence to mosaic. Elena's sentence ticked down. Release loomed in 32, parole terms strict. No contact, restitution paid in full. Wesley monitored from afar, therapy fortifying the walls. "She's a chapter closed," he'd say, but I'd catch him staring at old photos, sibling bond a scar that itched. The real quake hit in July, heat wave baking the city into tar. Theo, now 24, Mohawk traded for a fade, thriving as a graphic novelist, called frantic. "Kyle, it's bad. My book's getting pulped." His debut, Shattered Saints, a semi-autobiotic gut punch on religious trauma, had snagged a small press deal. But pre-release buzz soured. Anonymous reviews on Goodreads, 5-star trolls accusing plagiarism, grooming undertones tied to his Haven days. Elena's fingerprints? Digital forensics said no, but the venom echoed her playbook. Wesley and I rallied. PR Blitz, my memoir's platform amplifying Theo's voice. A joint op-ed in the Post, Art from Ashes, Why Queer Stories Can't Be Silenced, went viral, sales spiking. But the toll showed, Theo spiraling, gigs canceled, a bar fight landing him in cuffs for disorderly. I bailed him out at dawn, precinct reeking of stale donuts. "This isn't you," I said in the cruiser back to his Astoria walk-up. He slumped, ice pack on his jaw. "Feels like it. Like I'm always the punchline." Wesley waited with takeout, falafel wraps, Theo's fave. "You're the hero, man. Own it." That night sparked our biggest rift yet. Theo crashed our place, couch fort of blankets and bad TV, but by week 2, boundaries blurred. Him joining our runs along the promenade. Inside jokes over breakfast. Jealousy reared, uglier now. Me snapping at Wesley for babysitting. Him retorting, "Like you didn't with me?" The blowout came over Labor Day barbecue. Haven alums grilling burgers in the garden. Theo flirted shamelessly, hand on Wes's shoulder, laughed too bright, and I cracked. "Back off. He's mine." Guests froze, forks midair. Theo paled. "Shit, Kyle, I didn't." Wesley pulled me inside, door slamming. "What the hell? He's hurting, not hunting. And I'm supposed to play stepdad forever?" Venom spilled. My fears of obsolescence, Haven's demands eclipsing us, Carla's fragility a mirror to my own. "We're drifting, Wes. Ghosts and strays pulling us apart." He paced, anguish etching lines. "Then let's fight for us. Therapy, again. Space if needed." We did. Intensive sessions, date nights enforced, Italian in Carroll Gardens, his hand tracing mine over tiramisu. Theo relocated to Theo's folks' farm upstate. Ironic healing, mending with the uncle via letters. His book soared, tour packed with fans chanting lines like mantras. Fall steadied us, but fate doubled down. October brought Wesley's diagnosis. Early-stage lymphoma, caught via routine check. Node in his neck, stubborn but treatable. Chemo, radiation, the oncologist said, charts crisp as autumn leaves. Prognosis excellent, but it'll kick his ass. Wesley's bravado cracked in the elevator down. Not fair. Just when we're solid. I held him, stealing my terror. We'll kick back. Together. The battle was brutal. Infusions leaving him queasy, hair tufting out like defiant weeds. I juggled Haven board meetings from his bedside, Jaden stepping up as interim director. Carla drove down weekly, chicken soup in thermoses, her recovery a talisman. Strengths inherited, she'd say, squeezing his hand. Donors rallied, fundraisers masked as Wesley's Warrior Wagers, auctions of his vintage watches. Theo illustrated a support zine, proceeds to cancer research. Elena? A letter from prison. Heard about Wes. If I could. Sorry doesn't cut it. Wesley read it, shrugged. Water under the bridge. Remission hit by spring 30. Bells tolling in our brownstone like victory marches. Wesley emerged leaner, grayer, but fiercer, shaved head a badge, tattoos stark against pale skin. Second chance. He toasted at our recovery party, arm around me. Don't waste it. We didn't. Summer meant sabbatical. Cross-country Amtrak, chasing sunsets from Chicago blues bars to New Orleans jazz funerals. In Santa Fe, under adobe stars, we renewed vows. Informal, Jaden officiating again, Carla beaming ringside. To farms rebuilt, I said, and he kissed me dusty and deep. Back east, Haven innovated. Virtual reality therapy for trauma, Theo consulting on designs. Elena paroled early for good behavior. Community service in a London shelter, ironic echo. No contact, but Wesley sent an anonymous donation. Pay it forward. By 31, with cherry trees blooming anew, life layered rich. Adoption papers in process for a sibling set from Haven. Twin girls, 6, with braids and boundless questions. Daddy Kyle. The caseworker tested, and my heart swelled. Wesley's fund went global. Me on the board. Equals an empire building. Carla remarried. A quiet librarian. Their Philly home a haven of board games and bad puns. One evening, Highline sunset. Full circle. We sat that bench. Girls giggling between us, skyline eternal. From milk to this, Wesley murmured, lacing fingers. Best reply ever, I said, leaning in. New York thrummed below, our story woven into its pulse. Drama, betrayal, love's stubborn bloom. Not ending, but enduring. Human, messy, profoundly ours.